So, my intention here is to give you practical advice on a way to start living your life so that you can actually understand what's going on and can become conscious of your unconscious habits. Belief that I have is everything is a skill. So, if you're familiar with the degrees of learning in any type of field, there's 4 degrees. At the very bottom, you're unconsciously incompetent. You don't know what you don't know. And then at the highest degree, you are unconsciously competent. So it means you're so good at something, you don't even have to try to do it. It just comes naturally, maybe intuitively. Now, throughout life, and I think the Bible has a lot of these hidden meanings inside of them. People just don't really understand much about it because they don't ever seek the truth. So throughout life, we have these emotions that run through our body. We don't know how to deal with them. We have this thing called an imagination that we also don't know how to effectively use. We have something called presence that we don't know when we're tuned into it or how to even get there. We have aches, we have groans, we have stresses in the body, and we have beliefs about life. If I work very hard, I will achieve something. If I don't know, just any type of beliefs. And a lot of this is shaped by programs. So the mind, and Tesla knew this, Nikola Tesla, he knew the mind was a programming machine. So what did he do? He always ate the same meals. He walked around buildings the same amount of times. He went to sleep at the same times. He did specific things in a specific regimen to clear the distractions around him so he could get intuitive insights from the field and have ideas on what to build, what type of creation and invention to make. And if we've even seen, great artists over time, I don't know if it was Picasso or Michelangelo or some random artist, but there are stories about these artists that would, they would have mental blockages, and they would sit in a chair, get very tired, hold like a metal ball or something, and in their hand, and right as they started to drift off, the ball would drop. They would wake up. They'd get an intuitive or a inspired action rather that would allow them to create or get the answer to something that was in their mind. So what does that mean? What are these things that we have that we've never learned how to actually use? And I think the Bible talks about Jesus in a way, not that he's above us. Well, he was great and all, but he's showing what pure potential can do, what the human mind can do, what the human body can do, what the human spirit can do. And people don't understand, a lot of things in the Bible. In the most simple form, the Bible talks about the temple of God. And there's a lot of simple messages in life. We'll talk about language in a second because language is just association. One word that I say to you can mean something completely different to someone else. But at the end of the day, where are we going? Talking about the temple of God. Now, what do we have on the side of our head? We have a temple. That's inside our brain, inside our mind. And the Bible talks about going inside the temple of God. But no one ever tells you in religion or in church what that means. That's simply meditating. And again, words, everyone has their own association with words based off how they've been programmed, how they came up. Some of you guys hear the word meditation and you think some hippie on the side of the road. Some of you guys hear meditation and think just mindfulness and simpleness throughout the day. But going inside the temple of God, just like it says in the Bible, you're going inside your mind. And be still That's how you find God. So what is stillness? What is stillness? Is silence, simply. So all these people, we understand maybe we have to go inside our mind to find God. That's why we're doing prayers and stuff. But how do we actually connect to that field? You must be still. So what does that mean in its simplest form? You have to find a way to quiet the mind. And that's the issue here. That's the hardest thing to do in the age of technology, because we have this egoic monkey mind. We, for the most part, are either living in the future or in the past through anxiety or depression or other states of consciousness. Very rarely are people actually present and actually still and actually calm. But let's talk about practicality. So, easy way to program the mind is to clear distractions, clear noise. What does that look like? Well, you got to get off social media. You got to get off the reels. You got to get off the content. And I promise you, they're not going to miss you. It's not something you have to be attached to. Everything the egoic mind wants. The egoic mind is where all suffering takes place. The egoic mind is attached to certain identities, certain outcomes. Certainty in general is what the egoic mind wants. It wants certainty. So you have to get off the social media. Stop trying to portray an image online if it's not actually you. Stop waking up and scrolling on the first minute of the day, or even scrolling throughout the day. You're getting all these dopamine hits from fakeness, purposelessness. A lot of people understand that, but it's just hard for them to take the jump to actually delete those apps, delete those distractions, because what now? What will they fill with their time? And, the hardest thing, or the easiest thing, depends, but really the one thing that can fix a lot of people is being able to sit with themselves alone in a room for, 15, 30 minutes without any distractions. And that type of person, that version of you who can do that, is 100 times more, anything that you want, 100 times more better in every area of your life. So we'll go back to, how to fill that time, how to watch out for those impulses, but simply you want to stop distracting the mind with things that give it meaningless potential. So stop scrolling, stop using all your attention, because attention is a currency. Stop using all of that online, and stop consuming. You're meant to be a creator. We'll talk about that later too. Now the body, it stores stress. The body shows signs before anything else. So it's important to always move the body each and every day. You're in a bad mental state, you wake up, you're not having the best day, find time to go on a walk or do deep stretches. Stretches is huge. I remember watching a video of a billionaire who said he spent $1,500 a day on stretching to clear blockages throughout the body. So if you don't have time to actually exercise, or you can do them both, you need to stretch. You need to clear these blockages in the body. You have stress buildup from being stuck inside all day, not getting actual sunlight, not doing what you want, unsuppressed emotions, etc., stuff like that. So stretching, maybe you don't have time to go to the gym in the morning, you're stuck in a corporate job or something, maybe you can stretch 15 minutes before work. Now, how do you stretch effectively? Well, I believe anything you do in life can be amplified to an extreme degree if you consciously breathe. And that is something we do not know how to do, or rather we don't do during the day. You got to understand, we have this human body. There's millions of things going on at once. It's digesting things, it's pumping blood through your body. There's emotions that come through the body, which are energy and motion, and all these things in the body are happening just randomly from a universal intelligence, I guess you can say. So Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. We were talking about breathing. Breathing is the one thing we do every single day. Some people do it consciously, some people do it unconsciously, but it's something that brings you back to the present moment. The present moment, what is that? It's the unknown. It's detachment from the egoic mind.